Alright, today we are going to continue our work with area, except today we're working with circles. We do have two vocabulary words today, one being the radius, which is the distance halfway across the middle of a circle, and the next one being diameter, which is the distance across the middle of a circle. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our notes for today. If you notice, I do have our formula written right up here at the top. This is important. This is what you're going to be using to solve for the area of each of these circles. Now, our formula is pi times radius squared. Now remember, pi equals 3.14, or 22 over 7, which I think today we'll probably be using 3.14 more than 22 over 7, but you can use either to get your answer. Now, the radius, don't forget, is, according to our definition, halfway across. So on our example right here, this 3 is our radius because it goes halfway across. Now, the diameter is the distance across the middle of a circle. So on number 1 down here, the distance goes all the way across the middle of a circle through the center. That would be our diameter. Now today, if you notice in our formula, we have radius. So that means we're going to have to find radius before we can find the area of my circle. So let's first take a look at the example that we have here. It's already worked out for you. Okay, we have a circle here, and it has a radius of 3. So I start with my formula. Area equals pi times radius squared. Then I'm going to substitute my values into that formula. So I'm going to have area equals 3.14, which is pi, times radius squared, which is 3 to the second power. Okay, then I'm going to use my order of operations, so I'm going to have 3.14 times 3 to the second power equals 9. Then I'll multiply 3.14 times 9 to get 28.26. And that's my answer. Okay, that's all we have to do. It's not that difficult. All we're going to do is plug our numbers into our formula, work it out, get our answer. Now, let's take a look at number 1, our first example. Now, the first example gives us my diameter of 8. Now, the problem with that is I need the radius. So how am I going to get the radius out of a diameter of 8? Yes, sir? Yeah, I have to divide by 2. Now, we all know that 8 divided by 2 is going to be 4. So I'm going to rewrite my formula here and plug in the numbers. Pi is 3.14 times my radius, which you guys told me was 4, to the second power. Now I'm going to solve 4 to the second power, which 4 times 4 is 16. So I'm going to have 16 times 3.14. So I'm going to do my 3.14 over here times 16, which gives me 50.24. So I know my area for this circle right here is going to be 50.24 units. The 4 is half of my diameter. Yes, remember, your formula is just like a recipe that you might use to cook with. All you're going to do is take your formula and plug those numbers in. That's what we're doing. Well, the 4 to the second power is part of my formula, the radius to the second power. So I have to find the radius, which in this case is 4, because half of 8, remember the 8 is my diameter, so I need half of that, which gives me 4. And then 4 to the second power gives me 16. Because on the example that we have up here, the 3 is the radius. We didn't have to cut that in half because it's already in half. Like this one right here gives me the diameter across the center of the circle. No. Now on number 2, let's take a look at number 2. Number 2, we're going to do the same thing. Okay, we're going to have pi times radius squared. Now, on this one, I had a student ask, well, since we have to take half of 5, is that going to be 2.5? Well, it could be 2.5, but on this one we don't have to take half of 5 because this is the radius. It's not the diameter. Okay, if 5 was the distance across the whole circle, then we would have to take half of 5, but we don't because 5 already is my radius. So I'm just going to plug those numbers into my formula. Again, I know that pi is 3.14. Okay, and I know that my radius is 5, so it's going to be 5 to the second power. Okay, so I'm going to have my area equals 3.14 times 25. And then when we multiply 3.14 times 25, that's going to give me 78.5. Okay, it's that simple. Really, all we're doing here, the hardest part is multiplying decimals, guys. But again, you guys know how to do that. Okay, questions on how to find the area for number 1 or 2? Now, number 3 is a little bit different because I don't have a circle here. How do you think I would go about finding the area for this one? Yes, sir, what do you think? Well, we're gonna use the same formulas that we're using up here to find the area for these circles, but we're gonna have one more step involved on this one right here. Okay? Because on number 3, how much of a circle is that? It's a half of a circle, isn't it? So wouldn't it make sense for me to find the area and then I have to divide that by 2 because really I only want the area for half of a circle instead of a whole circle. So the process is the same. I'm still going to have to do my A equals pi times radius squared. The difference is I'm going to have to divide by 2 at the very end. So I'm going to go ahead and figure this out. My area is 3.14 times, now this is my diameter, okay, because it goes all the way across. So I'm going to have 2 to the second power. Well, just so happens 2 to the second power actually equals 4. So that's convenient for us. So I'm going to have 3.14 times 4, which is going to give me 12.56. But I'm not done yet with that because now I have to take my 12.56 and divide that by 2 because I really only want half of this circle. So I have to take 12.56 and divide that by 2. Now, when I divide that by 2, that's going to give me 6.28. Okay, so my area for this half of a circle right here is going to be 6.28. Now, they can do this to a bunch of different types of circles. They could even cut this into fourths. If they cut it into fourths, instead of dividing by 2, you'd have to divide by 4. And in fact, I think that's how you do the last one on your assignment today, on your worksheet. I believe that the last one, you have to get your area and then divide by 4. And that will give you the area of that shaded portion, if you will. Okay? All right, let's get to work.